The last person to see Nancy Guthrie alive was her son-in-law. He walked her to her door. He drove away. And by morning, she was gone. No phone, no medications, blood on the front steps, and a camera that someone had already disconnected. The police looked at him first, and what they found, or didn't find, is the part of this story nobody is talking about. Stay with me. Because 75 days later, the police are back on the street. And what they saw when they got there changes everything. I need you to picture something. An 84-year-old woman, a quiet Friday evening, dinner with her daughter and son-in-law at their home in Tucson, Arizona. The kind of night that doesn't make it into your memory because nothing unusual happened, nothing worth remembering, until it becomes the last memory anyone has. That dinner on January 31st, 2026 is the last confirmed moment Nancy Guthrie was alive and safe and surrounded by people who loved her. Think about that. The last thing she did was have dinner with her family. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, had lived in the Tucson area for more than 5 decades. After dinner, her son-in-law Tommaso Cioni drove her home to her Catalina Foothills house. He walked her to her door. He drove away, and the night closed in around that house. The next morning, Nancy didn't show up for her Sunday church live stream. She never missed it. A member of her congregation noticed. They called the family. Relatives went to check, and what they found at that house told a story no family should ever have to read. Her phone was still inside. Her medications were still inside. There was blood near the front steps, later confirmed by forensic testing to be Nancy's, and the Google Nest camera by her front door. It had been tampered with, disconnected. Someone had come to that house with a plan. This was not a woman who wandered off. The evidence made that clear from the very first hours. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano said it plainly. Nancy Guthrie had been taken from her home against her will. The word that entered the public record was kidnapping. Within 48 hours, this case became national news. And not just because of what happened to Nancy, because of who Nancy's daughter is. Savannah Guthrie, co-anchor of NBC's Today Show. One of the most recognizable faces in American television. She stepped away from her desk immediately. And the media machine that follows a story like that shifted into full gear. The FBI joined the investigation. A $50,000 reward was announced, as hours later doubled to $100,000. And the true crime community, which had been watching from their phones and laptops, started to focus before anyone pointed a camera at the wrong person. Before a single theory was posted online, there was just a family. A sister who had to keep appearing on television with grief she couldn't fully show. A daughter in Tucson who woke up every morning not knowing where her mother was. That daughter is Annie, Nancy's other child. Not a public figure, not on television. Just a woman whose mother had been taken and who was about to have her name pulled into something she never asked for. A former anchor reported on her podcast that a law enforcement source had named Annie's husband, Tommaso, as a prime suspect. She acknowledged it was an early theory, not confirmed evidence, but the phrase prime suspect attached to that name in a case this visible was out in the world. And it was not coming back. Annie's car was towed from their property and placed into evidence. A week after Nancy disappeared, federal agents searched their home on a Saturday night in front of the neighbors, while the entire country was watching. Your mother is missing. You don't know if she's alive. You are pleading publicly for whoever took her to bring her home. And there are cameras outside your house, and strangers on the internet are calling you a suspect. That is what Annie Guthrie was living through. On February 16th, Sheriff Nano stood at a microphone and said something that law enforcement almost never says. He didn't just clear the family, he defended them. He said, to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, honor your profession and report with compassion. When NBC asked why he used those words, Nano said, because sometimes we forget we're human and we hurt, and kindness matters. Let's talk about what investigators actually know, because it matters, and because it has been buried under weeks of speculation. the FBI released surveillance footage showing a masked man approaching Nancy's front door on the night she disappeared. He was approximately 5'9" to 5'10", average build. He wore gloves and carried a specific backpack, a 25-litre Ozark Trail hiker pack sold exclusively at Walmart. 16 gloves were found in areas near the home. One pair, discovered roughly 2 miles from the scene, contained DNA from an unknown male. It was run through the FBI's National CODIS database. No match. Ransom notes arrived. On February 3rd, the family received a note demanding millions of dollars in Bitcoin. Reports indicated the demand was $6 million. 2 deadlines came and went, February 5th and February 9th, with no confirmed contact from whoever sent them. Then on April 6th, the same day Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show after 2 months away, TMZ received further notes from someone claiming to have seen Nancy alive in Sonora, Mexico, but now alleging she was dead. On the Today Show in late March, Savannah told her co-host Hoda Kotb, "I believe the 2 notes we received. The ones we responded to, I tend to believe those are real." She said her brother told her early on that he believed the motive was ransom, that Nancy was targeted because of Savannah herself. "I knew that," Savannah said on air. "I hope not. I mean, we still don't know. Honestly, we don't know anything. Think about what it costs to say that sentence on television. We don't know anything after 75 days." While the whole country is watching, the DNA evidence recovered from inside Nancy's home was sent to a private lab in Florida. Results still pending. A genealogical DNA expert told News Nation she believed investigators should go back to that crime scene and collect more samples. "I can't believe there wouldn't be his DNA at that crime scene," she said. Investigators also flagged a specific date, January 11th, 2026, 3 weeks before the abduction. Google initially reported that surveillance footage from Nancy's Nest camera may have captured the masked man on that date, possibly scouting the property in advance. Google later walked that back. They couldn't definitively confirm the date. But Sheriff Nanos told a reporter in March, "We do believe something occurred on January 11th. That's with the FBI's analysis. I just can't say with clarity exactly what." The family included that date in their March statement, asking Tucson to think back. Was there anything unusual around January 11th? A car on a quiet street? A face at a Walmart? Anything that felt like nothing at the time? Now here is where we get to what happened in the last few days. And I want you to understand why this matters. Not just as a case update, but as a moment that reveals something about all of us who follow stories like this one. In the Catalina Foothills neighborhood where Nancy's house still sits, residents held a homeowners association meeting. The Pima County Sheriff's Department was there, and the neighbors had a complaint. Not about the investigation, not about the police, about a YouTuber who had been harassing people in the area. Neighbors in the community of a missing 84-year-old woman showed up to a meeting and said, "This has gone too far. Someone is harassing us in the name of covering this case." But that was just the first complaint. The second one came from Annie Guthrie herself. Annie, Nancy's daughter, filed a formal harassment complaint with the Pima County Sheriff's Department about content creators operating near her home. This was confirmed by the PCSD and reported by KVOA News for Tucson on April 13th, 2026, and corroborated by Newsweek, USA Today, and multiple other outlets. Annie Guthrie, a private person, a grieving daughter who has been through the disappearance of her mother, the search of her home, the seizure of her car, and months of online speculation that her own sheriff, publicly called reckless and cruel, walked into the Pima County Sheriff's Department and filed a formal complaint. She did not post a video. She did not go on Twitter. She did not call a press conference. She went to the sheriff, because that is how desperate the situation had become. The department responded by increasing patrols, visible law enforcement presence in both neighborhoods, Annie's Street, and the street where Nancy's house still sits empty. Here is the gut punch of that decision. As of February, more than 400 investigators were assigned to the Nancy Guthrie case. 40 to 50,000 tips were being processed. DNA was being tested. Surveillance footage was being reviewed. And now patrol cars are circling Annie Guthrie's residential street because of harassment, because of cameras pointed at a grieving woman's home. Every officer on a harassment patrol is an officer not following a lead on a kidnapping. That is the real cost of what happened here. Former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer gave the most honest take. You're going to have some that don't like the disturbance and being harassed. And then you're going to have others who support the creators because they think. At least this keeps eyes on Nancy Guthrie. Both things are true. And the collision between those two truths is the most revealing thing this case has produced in weeks. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. No arrest, no named suspect. The $1 million reward remains unclaimed. Savannah returned to the Today Show on April 6th, her first appearance after more than 2 months away. She came out in yellow. She smiled. She anchored. A former FBI agent posted online, "Porch guy, you took her mother. You did not take her spirit. You did not win. Imagine going back to work under those circumstances, sitting across from your co-host with a camera on your face and a nation watching, performing normalcy, while your mother is still out there somewhere and you still don't know if she is alive." The Guthrie family's March statement was not crafted by a publicist. It was a plea. So, they wrote, "We desperately ask this community for renewed attention to our mum's case. Someone knows something. It is possible a member of this community has information they do not even realize is significant." They asked people to check camera footage, journal entries, text messages, to think back to early January, to think about a man in a Walmart buying a specific backpack, to think about a car parked on a quiet street a few nights before February 1st that someone noticed and filed away as probably nothing. That is the ask. Not live streams, not cameras outside Annie's window. Information, the kind that gets called into a tip line, the kind that comes from someone who lives near Nancy's house and has security footage they haven't looked at yet. 75 days. No answers. A sheriff who put his badge on the line to defend a grieving family. A daughter who had no choice but to walk into a government building and say, "Make it stop." And a mother who is still out there. Nancy Guthrie went to church every Sunday. She had dinner with her family. She let her son-in-law walk her to her door. And then the night took her. Whoever did this knew that house, knew that neighborhood, knew that family. And somewhere, right now, they're still out there. And so we hope is Nancy. If you have any information, anything at all, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. That number is 1-800-225-5324. Submit tips at tips.fbi.gov or call the Pima County Sheriff's Tip Line at 520-351-4988. The 88 Crime Anonymous line is also active. If this gave you something, share it. Not for the algorithm. For Nancy.